So I have a quick update. It's just about a couple of things. The first thing is it is August 26th, 2026. I recently renewed my driver's license and it already had mail on it because of the state I'm in. And I had already done all the paperwork and everything to switch it. And so was able to renew it for 8 years, which will outlast the current administration. Also, my passport will outlast the current administration. So I am hopeful that my documents will never have to be an issue or changed or a problem for the rest of this horrifyingly egregious current situation going on. There's like 93 anti-trans bills going on in the country right now, and I think it's over 26 states now have passed anti-trans bills. And of course, again, they're all, oh yeah, unless the baby's intersex, and then definitely cut them, definitely do the gender care, that surgery, even though it's not care at all, it's actually torture for the person for the rest of their life. But they don't care about that. They care about normalcy. But my documents at least should be solid. Everything should be hopefully good for until after this current administration. I really am hoping that after this administration something better happens, but you never know with things. But at least I've got 8 years before any documents or whatever will be contestable under current stuff, unless they do something where they completely destroy valid documentation, which unfortunately has happened in some states and some situations. I, again, a while back had a friend who was ex-military and who had, you know, had her documents revoked because of having been in the military and stuff. So, um, yeah, it's sucky for stuff like that. And unfortunately, again, intersex gets lumped in with trans, even though they're not quite the same thing, but they do need some similar gender affirming care needs. And so some of the like medical needs, as far as what to do about it, overlap. People like to lump them together, but they're not actually the same thing. But in reality, it shouldn't be happening to anyone, whether they're trans or intersex. No one is actually harming someone by pursuing the care that they need, and documents shouldn't be revoked from people. Um, I'm was born in the U.S. I deserve just as many rights as any other U.S. citizen. I'm law abiding. I don't do illegal or bad stuff. So yeah, I add good to the world and to my community. Like, I don't deserve to be treated like crap. But at least I am trying to do something preventative or preemptive to make sure things are covered. The next thing is I have been exercising, and for a little bit there, I just stopped losing weight while I was doing calisthenics and everything. I figured it was because I was gaining muscle, and sure enough, it was. I am now losing weight again. So yay! I am getting pretty close to finally passing the threshold to under 200 pounds, and that's exciting. Yay! I will not need to be overweight for any of the other surgeries, even though I will need more surgeries, even besides the one to fix the complications. Um, but I won't need to be overweight for any of that. You know, having me be within that particular weight range and having that be mostly body fat, it worked. My phallus is the right size. The base of it worked out great. The microsurgery worked out great. So all of that part of things is all solid, is all wonderful and dandy. So I now don't have to retain weight. And so I've been exercising. It makes me feel better about myself. Also, I'm just kind of an active person, and it has been very liberating to be quote unquote allowed to be active, and doing stuff. Plus, I've been taking walks in like Japanese gardens and along the waterfront and under the trees, and it makes me happy. So, yeah, I am very pleased that I am losing weight again, and definitely losing weight again. I thought maybe a week ago that I was starting to lose weight again, but no, it's for sure. I'm losing weight again and it's staying down. So, yay! That's really wonderful. For anyone who is actively in this position, possibly because you're trying to get phalloplasty, and unlike my surgeon who wanted me to be over a certain weight so that, the phantom limb syndrome phallus could be as close in reality as to what my brain thought it would be as possible. I would like to say that there are a lot of surgeons who actually won't even perform surgery on you if you're over a certain BMI, even though BMI is such a flawed measurement, but it is the standard measurement. And unfortunately, there's a lot of surgeons who are just skittish about doing surgery on someone who maybe is a little heavier. So if you are actively trying to lose weight, a couple of tips from somebody who is doing it and who has done it before in my life more than once. Tip number one is be aware that if you are starting from a place of heavier, that you are starting from a place where you can gain muscle and lose weight pretty quickly at the same time to a certain degree, as long as you like give yourself rest days. And a rest day just means taking a walk instead of doing like weightlifting or calisthenics that day. And it's very useful to, make you feel more body positive, especially if you can focus on your chest and your shoulders and your arms and stuff. You can build a lot of confidence about your masculinity if you are trans masculine, or if you are, intersex, trying to build yourself up, or whatever it is. Same thing is true for trans feminine, but it would be in a different body areas. It would be more probably around your waist and, trying to slim down and feel like your hips were wider and your waist was smaller, things like that. But for guys, especially trans masculine guys and stuff, or again, if you were born intersex and unfortunately were turned into a girl against your will, like me, and you're trying to, as an adult, improve your feelings about your own masculinity, doing those kinds of exercises is really motivating, which helps you lose even more weight because it reduces your gender dysphoria and it gives you confidence, and it feels good. It feels like you're building yourself up even as you are actually slimming down. So your weight might not shift as much as the tone of your body does, but it feels really, really good. And it also does make BMI stuff less problematic because the doctor can look at you and be like, oh yeah, a lot of this is muscle, maybe I'll fudge this a little bit or whatever. You're obviously not like as heavy as you were before when I last saw you. So that's one thing. Another thing is weigh yourself in the morning after you go pee. Don't weigh yourself at random times throughout a day. Pick one time and stick with it, and the best time is in the morning after you wake up because your weight is the most consistent at that time of day. You haven't eaten breakfast yet, you have woken up, so your weight will be pretty consistent when you weigh yourself at the same time every morning. Just, have your morning emptying of the bladder from sleeping all night, and then go weigh yourself, and then just clock that in your head and go about your day and stuff. Do not weigh yourself multiple times a day. Honestly, you don't need to weigh yourself every day. If you weigh yourself once or twice in a week while actively losing weight, that's probably tons because you don't have consistent weight loss like in actuality. Some days you're going to be more bloated than others. Some days you're going to eat something that, maybe wasn't expected, or you're going to have forgotten to drink enough water and you'll start doing water retention, or, things like that. Your weight just fluctuates. So in reality, weighing yourself constantly will only make things more stressful and anxiety ridden. Do not do that to yourself. Weigh yourself maybe, one or two times a week, and do it consistently at the same time of day in the morning when you wake up after you go pee. Just Give yourself a quick weigh, because you will know that's a consistent, decent measurement, and you can keep track better that way than doing it all the time and stressing about it all the time. If you are constantly weighing yourself, you're going to have such weight fluctuations that it gets really disheartening. But also, on top of that, being disheartened means your cortisol levels are going to be higher, which means that your healthy hormones that help you, out while you're exercising are going to have less spikes. And you want those endorphins, you want that wonderful serotonin, you want the oxytocin. You do not want to have cortisol spiked up in your system. Cortisol makes you retain weight more from food. Cortisol makes you have a harder time with losing the weight. Cortisol is not your friend when you're trying to lose weight. So anything you can do to reduce anxiety, such as not weighing yourself constantly, is a good thing, because it helps reduce all that cortisol. And the last thing I'll say for weight lifting, or, losing weight, or whatever it is, whatever kind of exercise you happen to be doing, consistency matters way more than doing it. Say you only exercise once a week, but you go exercise for like a whole hour doing like hardcore mode. If you actually exercised, say, 15 minutes a day, it would actually give you more gains overall than that 1 hour in the week. Consistency actually is way more productive. If you do a consistent amount of exercise, of, say, setting aside half an hour or whatever it is a day to work on your exercising, maybe alternating days, and you don't have enough time to do it every single day, so you do it every other day. Whatever it is, consistency is what actually will get you there. If at first you can't even lift a weight, you've never lifted anything in your life, just lift your arms. Just keep lifting your arms until it gets tiring. You just get up, sit back down, get up, sit back down, get up, sit back down until you're tired. You lean against the wall, start slipping down, and then push back up the wall with your legs, lift with your legs. Do that over and over again until you're tired. The point is to get your muscles to a point where it's tired. And once you feel that tiredness in your muscle, then you stop for a few seconds, give yourself a break before you continue and do more. You will, if you stay consistent doing that, you will get to where, oh, look, I am starting to be able to lift a little weight. Oh, I am starting to be able to actually do a squat instead of sit down, get up, sit down, get up. I am actually starting to be able to do crunches and stuff instead of just like sliding down a wall and then coming back up with my legs. You start with whatever easy mode you need to, and don't judge yourself for how easy of a mode you need to start with. If you can't start right off the bat doing push-ups, do not judge yourself for that. Okay? Do what you got to do, and do it consistently, and do it in the right form. It is way, 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 way more important to do a push-up correctly, pushing your shoulders and correctly pushing your back, like actually in the right form, in the right body shapes as you're doing the exercise. It is way more important to do that even one time compared to a whole bunch of just sort of fake half done push-ups. And whatever exercise it is, that's true of. It can be lifting a weight, it can be doing like pull-ups, it can be doing like jumping jacks, whatever it is, doing it in a correct form so that you don't injure yourself, and also so that it extends the pressure on your muscles in the best way possible, is actually way more effective than just throwing yourself into half-done partial exercising. So just be aware of those things, because these are all things that are really, really important when you're trying to lose weight, that people don't realize or maybe pay enough attention to, and then they get really disheartened when they feel like they're not really losing weight. But they don't realize the significance of it. They think, oh, I'm just doing blah, 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 like this. Okay, jumping jack's done, instead of full actual stretching and extension. And they don't think about, oh, my body's actually like gaining from this in a real and tangible long-term way. And it's not just about melting off pounds. It's about having the kind of muscles that eat fat, that make it so that you can stay that way and you can have an easier time of it in the future and you can feel motivated by the way your body's starting to look and feel shaped like, you know, it's important. The last part of this little update I wanted to do today is so I mentioned before I was getting Zaps in my body for the microsurgery where it's attached in the groin and where it's attached in the thigh. And those Zaps are very much like just twinges of, sudden pain or sudden sensation. It's very intense, right? Well, I'm starting to get those in the base of my phallus. And so I thought that was interesting that it is like spreading or that it's in there too. And I have definitely been more frequently aroused or, taking care of my own personal needs because of it. And you might say, oh, that's a little weird because you said it can hurt. True, true. Those zaps can be painful, but they also are very activating. And again, there are indications that sensation is coming in from all the microsurgery and stuff. And that's awesome. That's great. That was extremely important to me. So I'm very happy for those zaps to be there. I am definitely still getting all of the internal microsurgery area ones, the groin a lot. It's definitely still happening to me. I don't know how long this process continues onward. No clue, but yeah, I do still have the appointment on the 9th of September. I didn't know if I was going to record again between, my last video and that appointment update, but yeah, I figured I can just do a little video about these three things. So, yeah, that's where things are at.